first book that I read this year was Magnus Chase and the Sword of Summer. I took off the outer cover and left it in Arizona. But basically this book is about Norse demigods. If you guys know Rick Riordan and you know me, you know that I have been obsessed with Rick Riordan and everything that he writes. I love Norway. I've been twice now. I want to go back. Like right now I would get on a plane and leave and go to Norway. But it's really great, and it's about finding the Sword of Frey, who is a god, and Magnus Chase, if you're familiar with Rick Riordan's work, is the cousin of Annabeth Chase, who is one of the main characters in his previous series. So they all kind of link together and find their way back to each other, which is really fun. The second book I read was The Girl on the Train. I'm very late to this trend, but my very, very dear friend bought this for me as a Christmas gift because she loves this book and I couldn't put it down. I think I read it in like 3 days. If you're into like thrillers or psychological type things, like a psychological thriller, an investigative thriller, then this is definitely the book for you. She really does a great job of playing with the unreliable narrator, because she switches points of view a lot in this book and no one is reliable. So it all really comes together in almost the last chapter. These two I'm going to put together because I bought them together and I read them together. This is Give Me a God I Can Relate To by Blythe Baird, and I think that's how you say her name, but I'm not sure. And this is Today Means Amen by Sierra de Mulder. They are fantastic poets that I love. I found their videos on YouTube of them performing poetry and they're just absolutely fantastic. So I bought these books and I read through both of them in a single sitting, and kind of as I was reading, bookmarked pages that I really liked, poems that I really liked, and they're just both so fantastic, such fantastic poets. Even if you don't read the books, just look up their names on YouTube and you will be pleasantly surprised. Then I read Maya Angelou's Letter to My Daughter. Maya Angelou doesn't actually have a daughter, so this book is a series of short stories and poems and short essays that she wrote kind of for all women readership of hers, and it's about her life and growing up and womanhood and discovering yourself, and it was amazing. I couldn't put it down. Everything that Maya Angelou writes is just beautiful to me. So I was really in love with this book. I'm gonna do these two together too because I read them very close to each other. The first is Milk and Honey by Rupi Kaur. I had already read this book, so it was really just getting a physical copy in my hand because I read it on my Kindle. But it's amazing. Every time I read it, I think of new things. It's a coming of age story. She has it broken up into little bits and it's kind of about heartbreak and life and love and growing up, and it's so, so good. The next story is 6-Word Memoirs of Love and Heartbreak, and this is by Smith Magazine. Basically, I had never heard of this, but basically Smith Magazine came out with the idea of 6-word stories, and they have a lot of them get sent to them, 6-word stories, so they put them together into books. This is just the one based on love. They have another one that's based on life and future and stuff like that, but these were really good, and one of my housemates actually came and read a majority of this book with me, and we got to talk about it and laugh about it, and it was really fun, so very good. And I read The Maze Runner by James Dashner. I had been wanting to read it. I watched the movie first because Dylan O'Brien is in it and I'm in love with him, but I'd been wanting to read it since I watched the movie. It was pretty good, very, I wouldn't say very, but different than the movie, so you have to be able to separate those in your mind, but it was really good. I would like to read the next one, but I don't think I'm in particular hurry to read it. Not like I am with Rick Riordan's series, where as soon as I finish one, I want to start the next one. This one, if I come across the second one, then I will pick it up. But it's not like on the top of my to-be read list. TV series first, which only had 1 season, I believe, maybe 2. I watched the TV series first and I was obsessed with it. It was so good, about teenage witches and witchcraft in a modern day society, which I'm obsessed with. This one, the book is actually set in the 90s. Not set in, it was written in the 90s, so it was set present tense, but because it's from the 90s, I had to keep reminding myself of that when they talked about just style and culture, things like that. So it is a little dated, and it is not like the TV series at all. So if you are really diehard for the TV series, it's nothing like it, but it's still really good. I still really want to read the next one, or the last one, I guess. Still really, really great. And then I read Unshaken by Francine Rivers, and this is basically a historical fiction account of the book of Ruth from the Bible. It's one of my favorite books to study in church, and I really, really loved this book. But of course, if you're not into like that biblical history of it, it would probably not appeal to you, but it was really great to kind of see that chapter come a little bit more to life. So those are the books that I have been reading in January and February, and now I'm going to tell you guys some of the books that I am going to be reading in March. I've already started. It's called The Apartment by Danielle Steele. It was recommended to me by another one of my housemates. She read it very, very quickly. I haven't had time because of school, so I'm slowly working my way through it, but it is your typical Danielle Steele novel. It's a chick lit, very easy to read, relatable characters. Definitely good for like groups of girlfriends if you guys all want to read it together. I would recommend it because it's very relatable. I think you'd be able to find your group of friends within this. I'm also currently reading A Hope-Filled Anthem for the Woman Who Feels She's Both Too Much and Never Enough. Wild and Free, written by Jess Connolly and Haley Morgan. This is a little bit more in depth. It's like a self-help book for Christian women. So again, if you're not into the whole religion, Bible thing, you probably wouldn't like this, but I really like it. And it's basically just going through what it's like to be a Christian woman in modern day and how you can feel fulfilled in yourself. So as someone who was told a lot growing up, you know, keep your voice down or hush or you're talking too loud, even now I get told that all the time. Trust me, it's very annoying. This is a good book because it kind of relates to that of you're not too much for people, you just get excited about things and that's okay. But I would definitely recommend this. It's so good. I have Someday Maybe by Lauren Graham. I read Lauren Graham's autobiography, Talking as Fast as I Can, and I fell in love with her writing. And so I'm really interested to read like her novel. I think my mom read it and she said it was really good. I had never gotten a chance to, and then I came across it at a thrift store, and so I had to have it because Lorelai Gilmore is my life. Then I bought the Rogue One novel based on the movie. If you haven't seen the Rogue One movie, I would definitely recommend it. It was great kind of addition to the Star Wars story. I'm not going to call it like a prequel, but it definitely was a great addition to it. And so I'm going to be reading this. Alexander Freed wrote it, and I'm so excited because I loved the movie so much. I thought it was so interesting, great characters, and I just love Star Wars. If you couldn't tell by all of this that's happening. I also have May I Have Your Attention Please by James Corden. If you know me at all, you know that I have a huge crush on James Corden. I think he's so cute and funny and charming, and I love him. And so I'm really excited to read this. It's a little dated. This is before he took over for the Late Late Show, and before kind of his like rise of American fame. So this is definitely just based on his career here in the UK, but I'm still so excited to read it and just fall even more in love with him. And The 5 People You Meet in Heaven by Mitch Albom. This is my little sister's favorite book in the whole world, and I have never read it, so when I came across it at the thrift store, I just decided to pick it up and I would read it. And yeah. Another Rick Riordan. This is Magnus Chase and the Hammer of Thor. This is the second one to The Sword of Summer that I read earlier, and it just came out and I'm so excited to read it. I'm so excited. Yeah, so that is my January/February book review thing. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you read some of these books. You can read them along with me. We can have a little chat about them because there is nothing I enjoy talking about more than books. ever. So I will see you guys next time. Bye.